Hey Billy, welcome to Swing Analysis 2.0. Thank you for sending me your swings. Um, Hopefully, we can improve your golf skills here and that you can enjoy the game a little bit more after our lesson. Okay, so I'm just reading your questionnaire here, and seems like, let me see, number two you put down, what's your current handicap? 21. Okay. Okay. Actually, not too bad of an action. Says that you struggle from push slice, sometimes pull hooks. One thing that I dislike about this setup that I think would help you, it seems like you have a lot of, it just seems like your swing is a little bit on the steep side. And from what I see is that your hips are a little too neutral. So you want to feel like your left hip pushes more towards the target at setup. So you can feel like you're scooting the whole lower body a little more forward towards the target, and then you're gonna feel like the left hip is slightly higher than the right hip. Okay, that's gonna encourage a better pivot on the backswing. So you see how when you take it back, your spine tends to be a little too much on the neutral side, even sort of bending towards the target a little bit. So we want to create a slight angle um, between the top of the spine and the bottom of the spine to be leaning slightly away from the target. Okay, you can see here the bottom of your spine is somewhere over here, and if you take a straight line to the top of the spine, you can see how now the red line is leaning towards the target. Okay, the reason why we don't want this is because um, it gets you in a steep position, and if you don't recover correctly, you're gonna hit that push slice. Okay, so here you can see that a lot of your weight is still on your left leg. Um, your left knee is still pointing out on the outside of the ball. Normally, we want to see the left knee to be pointing somewhere closer to the golf ball at the top of the swing for a correct pivot. Okay, pretty good move here in transition. So that's why it says number four. He said, "My body and my head goes up. Also, my left knee jumps every time through impact." Well, part of the reason is that you don't load your left knee going back, so it doesn't really load behind the ball. So essentially, all of your pressure. Let me just delete all of this. Essentially, if we just focus on your left leg, all of the pressure is going down right now. Down, right? So the only thing you can do on the downswing is the reaction of doing that is you're gonna have to come up. Okay. Watch how you go down. And you start down with the left knee out, pushing more force into the ground, and then you're gonna have to pop up at some point. Otherwise you're gonna hit it a mile to the right. Okay? So I think the first thing that I would like to see you do is set up. Make sure that instead of the hip joint, instead of the right hip joint being on top of the right foot, um, we want to do the opposite. We want the left hip joint here to be more on the lead side so that it's more on top of the left heel like that. Okay, so just feel like you're scooting your whole lower body a little bit more towards the target at setup, and that should get you in the proper tilts. Okay, so let's look at you with the driver here. So a little better pivot with the driver. You can see how the left knee now moves a little bit inward. That's good. I don't like how open that right foot is. I'm not a big fan of that. I like to see people with the right foot slightly more square to the target line. So it's okay to be a little bit open. It's okay to be flared a little bit open. You just don't want to flare it like 45 degrees open because that's going to inhibit your rotation on the follow through. Pretty nice turn going back. Another thing that I don't like about the right foot position is that it gets your right knee to be pointing out too much. Okay, so we want this right knee to be a little more stable and pointing more forward. Okay. Yeah, and you can see how far your left knee is on the outside of your shoe. Don't really want that in in the longer clubs, especially with the driver. You never want the left knee to be out so far. I'd like, I mean, this is as far as it should go here, the left knee. You're definitely going past the outside of your left shoe here on the downswing, and that might lead to some push slices on the golf course because you're not going to have room when you're going past your left shoe here with the left knee. You're going to have to pop out of it to shallow the club, and that's when you feel that jump sensation. I mean, it's not the worst thing to do in the world because you get some power out of it, but you definitely are going to lack consistency if you keep jumping off like that. Okay, so we're just gonna feel like here at the top, just gonna let this left knee sort of float in and then just hold it there a little bit longer. Don't fan that left knee out open so hard early. So you want this happening, the rotation of the left knee, you want it to happen more or less when you get around chest height or hip height area. Then you can really get that left knee to rotate around you. I think that's a better timing than rotating it so early, which puts a lot of pressure on your left leg, which then forces you to push up out of it. Take a look at you down the line. Really good swing plane. Not much wrong going on this angle. The only thing I would say is that you have a little bit of an early extension, meaning on the downswing you definitely go towards your toes a lot, especially your right toe. You can see how early that right foot, that right heel comes off the ground, and that sort of pushes the right hip underneath you a little bit too early. So I'll give you a couple drills later, good sensations for you to fix that problem. Okay, you can even look at some of the early extension videos that I posted on my reels on Swing Analysis Pro to get an idea. Okay, but everything seems like it's just your whole lower body shoves underneath you a little bit too much here. And that's about it. Oops. Well, let's take a look at the driver. Yeah, not too bad overall. So the handle gets a little bit high here, and it's pretty much the same pattern. So if I draw a line on your butt here, you can see how when you shove that right hip forward, what happens is now the hands get really high. Whenever you shove that right hip forward, that's going to shove the hands out, and if you're not careful, sometimes you lose your balance towards your toes a little bit too much, and that's what's causing the flip to happen through impact. But all in all, it's not a bad swing. You should be able to play a lot better. You just fix a couple of things there. Just work on that early extension on the downswing. I'll give you a couple of drills later, and also from the front. From the front, just making sure that you're setting up with the proper lower body tilts. Just moving that left hip closer to the target at setup. That's gonna fix a lot of problems for you. You know, I think once you fix that setup position, you're gonna have an easier time to transfer your weight a little bit more to your right side on the backswing. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.